This is Mike Mara with HavenFootball.net, and we've been following the building of the field over at George L. King Field with the new turf, and we wanted to share it with you. I thought it would be interesting. They first had to remove the grass and then dig down about 18 inches or so, removing about 250 truckloads of dirt. Then they had to pack it all down and get it ready to fill with rock, which is what you see here. They had piles and piles of rock involved, which they spread over a barrier that you see here, and then spread it all out. They also put in a new concrete curtain along the edge. When it was all compacted, it felt sort of like beach material, but a little more rough, and then they painted it because each roll of carpet that came in had to be placed in the precise spot. This is what the field looked like right before they were ready to bring the carpet in. And then the carpet arrived, I think it was 3 truckloads, these huge tubes that were all carted off and then placed and stored in particular order. And now the fun begins. This is the machine, basically a forklift, that will pick up the roll and will transport it to the beginning of the row, which you'll see here. And what they do is they lay it face down on top of an existing sheet, the existing roll that's already been laid out, and you'll understand why in a second. And you know, these are pretty heavy rolls, obviously, and it's a fairly thick, as you can imagine, thick carpet. It has to be groomed after it's laid down, but they'll do that later. And they'll just roll this thing out. It goes for roughly 50 yards, roughly the width of the field. And they've got lines drawn everywhere. And then they'll come around and they'll clip by hand this section to get the grass, so to speak, off of it, because they need a real nice wide section, because they're going to end up stitching these two pieces together. And this is the machine they use. They need has one guy with the air hose there. He's blowing it out to make sure they have a nice clean surface to work with. And it's a little blurry because I was on a close-up, but you can see the sewing machine type device. It's stitching right along there and putting the two seams together. And they have this little platform they lay down so they have a clean surface to walk against and it doesn't pick up any dust or anything. So what you're seeing there is 2 pieces of carpet, front, the one on the bottom obviously facing up and the one top laying down. And they're just going to move it down, and this is, it's all labor intensive. It's not machines per se, obviously it's a stitching machine. But they have to do it, by hand. And here's a picture of the stitching. You can just barely see it with what I'm pointing out, but it's really heavily stitched together. And then it's just the physical labor of taking the top carpet and pulling it straight out. It takes 5 or 6 guys to do this. I think the whole crew is about 8. And they pull it, and you'll see the line appear. The line is part of the actual carpet itself. It's not painted or anything. It's actually woven in like that. It's different colored grass. It's white, obviously. And they'll pull that out. And then this is kind of neat. They use the forklift and they hold it down. You see where the forklift is parked, and he'll move slowly forward, and they'll pull, and the forklift takes the pressure off the stitching so they can pull the carpet really, really tight. And that's how they get a nice clean fit. And they make sure it's stretched to where it's supposed to be stretched to. And this is the amount they had gotten accomplished by the time I had left on Thursday afternoon. HavenFootball.net will be at the field for the next 2 days as they begin the completion project. They have to do the sidelines and the end zones, obviously, and then they got to put the numbers on, which is an interesting process, but I'll save that for my next video. Thanks for watching.